Currently, the densest place on Earth is the Dharavi slums in Mumbai, where around 700,000 people live in just 2 square kilometers. This tiny city, only 6.5 acres, or about the size of 4 football fields, housed up to 50,000 people. Hundreds of these buildings were crammed into that small area. Alleys were almost always dark due to the dense buildings blocking out sunlight, led to its nickname City of Anarchy. Imagine you're sitting comfortably at home, watching this video. Now, picture yourself suddenly teleported to the most crowded place on Earth. What would your daily life be like? Let's explore this fascinating scenario. Currently, the densest place on Earth is the Dharavi slums in Mumbai, where around 700,000 people live in just 2 square kilometers. Life in Dharavi is tough, but it's not the most crowded place in history. That title goes to the Kowloon Walled City in Hong Kong, which existed until 1993. Kowloon Walled City was once the most crowded place on Earth, with nicknames like the City of Anarchy and the City of Darkness. To give you some perspective, the population density in New York City is about 10,000 people per square kilometer. In Dharavi, it's around 277,000 people per square kilometer. But Kowloon Walled City was even more extreme, with a staggering 1.9 million people per square kilometer. That's 182 times denser than New York. This tiny city, only 6.5 acres, or about the size of 4 football fields, housed up to 50,000 people. Imagine living in a 1,200 square foot apartment with 9 other people. Now, picture your building is 14 stairs high, and every unit is just as packed. Hundreds of these buildings were crammed into that small area. If everyone on Earth lived as densely as in Kowloon Walled City, the entire human population could fit into Rhode Island. The street level was filled with unlicensed dentist and doctor offices, so you'd have to take your chances with healthcare. Restaurants often served dog meat, and there were no sanitation regulations. You'd need an umbrella to protect yourself from dripping pipes and garbage thrown from above. The alleys were almost always dark due to the dense buildings blocking out sunlight. Kowloon Walled City was essentially the world's largest squatter camp, without official government services or laws. This led to its nickname City of Anarchy. Both the British and Chinese governments left it alone, allowing the city to self-govern. With minimal government intervention, the walled city became a haven for gangsters. Rent was incredibly cheap, about $5 a month for a tiny 40 square foot room. Thousands of these rooms existed, stacked in 14-story buildings constructed without licensed architects or engineers. Despite the darkness at street level, a network of stairs and ramps allowed residents to navigate without touching the ground. The city's courtyard was the prime social gathering place and the only area where sunlight reached. The roof was a dumping ground for garbage, but also a spot to watch planes landing at the nearby Kai Tak airport. Planes flew just overhead, creating enormous noise pollution. Life inside was dark, dirty, cramped, loud, and often violent, but many people seemed to enjoy it as it continued to attract more and more residents over the years. Your life inside would be guaranteed to be radically different from the life you know now, because there isn't really any place on Earth quite like what Kowloon Walled City was. Sadly, the walled city was demolished in 1994 by the Hong Kong government. Today, a park stands where the city once was, but we have many photographs that capture its essence. For a taste of what the walled city was like, you can visit the Anata No warehouse in Kawasaki, Japan. It's a faithful multi-level recreation of part of the walled city. Kowloon Walled City is a fascinating example of how humans can adapt to incredibly challenging living conditions. It shows both the resilience and the creativity of people living in such extreme density. Though it no longer exists, its legacy lives on in the stories and images we have of this unique place.